Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah.
Melanated.
So, today's episode of Morning Tea, I am drinking hot Tetley tea. It's a British tea, as you guys know, I love it. Usually I have a little bit of half and half in it, but I don't have any half and half, so I'm just drinking it straight up black. So right now I'm at my friend's house, which is why my background is different, and I was spending time with her, and she had to go do something, so I was like, why not film and upload a video while she's gone so I can feel productive on my days off? Yay! So let's jump right into the topics. I have written them on my cellular device. And first, let's talk about Louisiana. Okay, so Louisiana just had heavy torrential rains, and they, as of Sunday, were super flooded. Like, I believe Saturday night to Sunday morning, like, was like the worst, and people woke up in water. Sierra Honeydip, who was my roommate during YouTube Next Up, is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She's very emotional right now, and her mother's house was flooded. Her mother got out safe, and her cousins were able to get out safe. But right now they're search and rescue, trying to see who else is out there. There's something referred to as the Cajun Navy, which are like local people who are getting in their boats or driving their boats over to the affected area. Motorboats, rowboats, like whatever, to go in and search to try to find people who need help, get animals out. I'm actually looking to try to donate feminine products to any places in Baton Rouge that is accepting them, and I will let you guys know if I find out those places. I'll let you guys know on Snapchat and Instagram. But one of the things I really remember hearing from Katrina was that there are women who just like started their periods while they were in shelters, and there was just no way for them to get feminine products. And so it would be really great to be able to send that, because like that's got to be the worst. You know, many of the homeowners didn't have flood insurance, and it's just a lot of devastation in Baton Rouge right now, and I just only want the best for them. I only want to send them positive vibes and prayers, and I really hope that people are able to salvage their lives, and I can't imagine losing all of my worldly possessions in a flood. We all got to dig in as a country and like help Louisiana, help Baton Rouge. So the next topic I want to talk about is the Olympics. There's a couple of, issues from the Olympics. The Olympics being in Rio de Janeiro. And speaking of Rio, like, this is something that I heard, and if it's true, like, it's so fucked up. That's the only way I can think of it. So basically, when you think of Rio de Janeiro, you think of that statue of Jesus, like in that bay or whatever. And you think of all of the houses that are on the hills that are like surrounding it. Well, apparently, all those houses that are surrounded, not apparently, like we all know this, right? Those are like the slums of Rio, right? So all of those like tin roof shack homes, and you see them in movies and such too. They're all like the hood, right? It's all like the poor area of Rio, and it has a beautiful view of like the bay and like of the water and the statue, and it's like amazing. So apparently now some rich people who live on the bottom have decided that that is where all the great views are, and that now they want to try to displace those people up there and make it so that they live up on the hills, and put the poor people somewhere. And if that is actually happening, that is so fucked up. I can't even explain to you. Like, you guys, the difference is like you're the rich or you're poor. Like, I'm sure they have like some kind of middle class like somewhere, but like for the majority, it's like you're rich or you're super, super poor. And to like displace those people because you want to have your house on the hill with the great views, like, that sounds really jacked up. No matter what the real circumstances or whatever it is that's happening where you feel like this is a necessary move, like, it's messed up either way it goes. But so there is some controversy dealing with Rio and the Olympics. There are a couple of American swimmers who were robbed outside of a nightclub one night, or a party one night, and they reported it to the police. They got robbed by fake police officers, and now a judge in Rio is like wanting to apprehend these Americans who were robbed, take their passports, and detain them, basically to ask them more questions, because they feel like their stories aren't clear, there's conflicting stories within the four men who were supposedly robbed. One of the guys like just came home, like he's in the US now, and he's like, no, I'm not going back to answer any more questions. I told you what happened, and that's the end of it. And the other three swimmers, the Olympic group is not giving out their information for security reasons, and it's part of their thing. They're just not going to do it. They were already given their statements, and like they're just like, we're not going to tell you where these people are because of security reasons. And I 100% support that. Like, one of my biggest fears with traveling to countries is that I'm going to break a law unknowingly and just get put in jail, because like their judicial systems are slightly different than ours, and a lot of countries don't like Americans. So unless they have like great relationships with America, they're not going to like release you or kick you out of the country. They might like try to put you in jail, and I'm not trying to have any kind of broke down palace happen to me. Like, I'm so terrified. I don't want to go to like Thailand or Singapore. I'm like, no. Like, people are like, oh, I'm like, no, because I'm not going to go to jail in another country on some bullshit because I didn't know. Like, no. So I'm completely with the swimmers. I also don't see any reason why they would lie about being robbed unless there's a whole other story and the robbery is a cover-up and this judge knows of something else that happened that these swimmers did, and possibly these swimmers are lying because they did something else. Like, unless that comes out, right now I'm on the side of the swimmers, and I'm like, don't tell them their information. I'm glad that one swimmer got back to the States and is like not going to deal with it, because they came there as guests for the Olympics, and because their stories don't line up exactly the same, like the judge is like, we're seizing your US passport so you don't leave. Like, I can't even imagine that happening in the States. I can't imagine like a Brazilian or an Italian athlete coming to the States, getting robbed, saying that they got robbed, and then because their stories are weird, the US decides to detain them. Like, yeah, maybe they do want to talk to them for more, you know, have more conversation about it, but like detain them? That sounds really serious. And there's also some video showing that when they came back from wherever they were, and when they got back to the Olympians camp, that they were like walking in casually and they still had their high-priced ticket items on them. So like, it didn't look like they were robbed. But I'm just like, we don't know when that video was taken. Like, we don't know if it was taken a day before, or like, we don't know anything. Like, I'm like, listen, you're not going to get me caught up in a foreign country. Okay, so let me just say, how am I going to say this? I know we're not a monolith, so I know we don't all think the same, but here's where I'm at right now. So people are talking shit about Gabby Douglas and her hair. They're talking shit about Simone Biles and her hair, right? They're talking shit about their hair as though they're not Olympians. Like, they're not the best in the entire fucking globe at what they do. So you talk about their hair. Because you sitting at home with your late edges who barely graduated from high school wants to talk about Gabby Douglas, who's like an Olympian and an amazing, like, she is an athlete. You know what I'm saying? So you want to talk about her hair. You sitting at home cleaning your Jordans with a toothbrush want to talk about Simone Biles' hair. You who have done nothing in your life want to talk about these two women who are doing everything with their lives. You want to talk about their hair when they're in a foreign country competing for our country. Okay, right. So then, are you still the same people who are mad at Ellen DeGeneres for that stupid meme that she put on the internet? Because I feel like the same people who are talking about Gabby Douglas's hair are the same people who are crying racism for Ellen DeGeneres. It's like people just jump on trends and just like go ham. It's like Twitter goes crazy all the time for a ridiculous amount of reasons. Don't talk about Gabby Douglas' hair. I feel like all those black people who tweeted anything about her edges need to be ousted from black Twitter. Like, I can't, like, no, don't do that. That is counterproductive. We want to show a united front. We want to show unity. I'm sorry, if white people can't make fun of us, then black people can't make fun of us. That's just the way I feel. That's the way I feel. Like, and I'm not talking about comedians. It's like, okay, let the comedians do, like, black comedians do what they want. Like, you make your money that way. But I'm talking about, like, these little Twitter idiots who are, like, saying whatever they want to say and, like, you know, then making it seem like other people can talk about it. Like, because if you're talking about Gabby's edges and how her hair is, why aren't you talking about the other women? Why aren't you, like, she wore her hair natural. Like, why are you hating? Like, what was she supposed to do, have a fly-ass wig while she's trying to win a competition where her hair could get in the way? Like, no, boo, no one's here for you and anyone's edges. Like, let's all live their lives. And if someone told the joke, fine, let someone tell the joke. But for all of black Twitter to go in, or for all of these like 12-year-olds to go in on her, like, no, I'm not here for that. There should be like a black Twitter committee where they just seize people accounts for like a week and for bad behavior. So speaking of Ellen, let's go to that. So here's the deal. I get what that joke is that Ellen was telling. And if Usain Bolt was a white person and she had jumped on the back of a white person with the caption saying, this is how I'm going to grocery shop, or this is how I'm going to travel from now on, it would have been hilarious. And I think it is a in general a funny joke because he's a fastest man. But the racial implications of a rich white woman riding the back of a black runner is like, how do you not know that? I mean, and she's like, her response is like, I'm not racist and I understand racism in this country. Like, you don't really though. You don't understand how it affects people of color. Like, you don't get it. You do on a surface level, but when it becomes like a bone deep or like below the surface, you really don't understand. Otherwise you wouldn't have put out that meme. Yes, it's funny, but it's not funny enough to skip over the racial, what's the word? The racial stigma behind it. That's the wrong word too, but whatever, I'm gonna use it. Like, it's not enough to skip over the racialness of the situation. It's just not enough because black people are still really hurt about white people being on our backs, about being in an oppressive community, an oppressive country, having to deal with systemic racism. We're still very upset with that. We're still very upset with iconery or pictures or things that show white people in blackface, white people doing things to black people. Like we don't want to see a video of a white cop giving a black motorist ice cream. Like, we don't want to see any of these things because we are not at the point where we are ready to forgive, because we need for there to be some acknowledgement of the issue. Like, you can't say like, oh, you should get over it by now. I'm not racist. Like, yeah, we know. I don't think Ellen DeGeneres is racist, but I do think that black people as a whole on the internet are sensitive. So let them have their sensitivity and don't be insensitive. You're not gonna shake black people out of their sensitivity by continuing to put out memes or pictures or blackface or whatever in order to push the envelope or in order to push the button to, get black people to ease up and to calm down because it's not as crazy as you think it is. Like, no, we're not going to calm down. Black people are not going to calm down. So every time you put out these pictures or do something or say something, it's going to get attacked. So just know that, Justin Timberlake. Anytime you do it, just know that. Iggy Azalea, anytime you do it, just stay away from it. It's not your conversation to be having. And if you don't want to, if you want to continue to be that person who does that, you're going to be continuously attacked and you're going to continuously have to defend yourself and you're going to continuously have to worry about your money. You have money to worry about, so worry about your money and stop worrying about trying to be funny. So Rudy Giuliani has lost his mind. Before Obama came along, we didn't have any successful radical Islamic terrorist attacks inside the US. I'm sorry, was Obama president in 2001? And then he tried to add later on saying like before Clinton and Obama there was no, okay. So again, was Clinton president in 2001? Oh, okay, so maybe he's saying that because of Clinton, then there was the attack in 2001. But like, why even involve Obama? He's lost his mind, and a lot of New Yorkers are feeling like, did you just forget what happened? After he dubbed himself Mayor 9/11, because he was the mayor after 9/11. But apparently, on September 9th and 10th, New Yorkers were ready to kick Rudy Giuliani out of office. They hated him. And then 9/11 happened, and the day after they were just like, okay, let's keep this guy in office because like he seems like he's come to the rescue, like he's really jumping in there, he's really doing what he's got to do. He did a lot of good for New York, including clear out Times Square and make it the like crazy tourist attraction that it is now. But now he's so pro-Trump that he's just like making things up and changing history, and it's making a lot of New Yorkers feel like what do you mean? Like, feels like he erased that 9/11 even happened by saying that there was no successful terrorist attacks before Obama. But there were, and it was called 9/11. So, I don't know what. It was 9/11 2001. So I don't know what you're talking about. And it's rude, and he's just like crazy. He's like a lunatic. Like, really? Like, how much is Trump paying you, Giuliani? Don't you have enough money? Okay, so another like New York story is that in Long Island, retired NYPD officer shot his two sons and killed himself. They were having an argument about whatever, and no one knows yet, and that hasn't come out, but I'd be really interested to find out what that argument was about. So they were having an argument about something, and he goes into his room, the dad, gets his gun, shoots his 2 sons, and then turns the gun on himself and killed himself. His sons are in the hospital in critical condition, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital. I'm just like so interested in what they were arguing about. So interested that you would kill your progeny and then try to kill yourself. Like, what? That is bananas. So I'm going to try to keep you guys updated if I get some more information on that. Alright guys, that's the end of today's morning tea. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or would like to join the conversation, please leave a comment down below. Alright? You guys have a fantastic day now. Bye!